Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Yo Yo, and this is Game Time with Yo Yo. So, right off the bat, you see the thumbnail Joyce Edwards and Malaysia Fuwiley. Why, why are these ladies on the bench? Why are, why are they not starting? And let's be clear. Don Staley has had a winning record. So questioning her starting lineup or who she chooses to play at certain times in the game is, not really done. You would think that it shouldn't be done because of her success. But getting blown out by 30 points, it's time to have the conversation. And getting, this is a team that's supposed to come in and put up a fight day in and day out, game in and game out. If they lose, everybody loses, right? But we shouldn't be losing by 30 points. And that's just unacceptable. In the post conferences, they acknowledged that that was an embarrassing loss. They got punched in the mouth. There's no other way to put it, So they understand that this was not, for lack of a better word, acceptable. But is it the formula? Is this lined up the formula for moving forward? That's the question. That's the question. Obviously, something is spoiled in the bunch. And I don't know if it's the players. I don't know if it's the coaches. I don't know if it's practice. Something is going on where they are not approaching the game with this, we want to win the natty again. So, I mean, because let's face it, Don given this increase in salary, the highest paid coach in the among college coaches in women's basketball, she's expected to produce, and she's expected to put on a quality product. She's expected to put on a competitive product. And bottom line is she's expected to win. Not all of them. No, I don't think that's the expectation, because you're going to get clipped here and there, right? But you can't get clipped by 30 points and expect to go into the SEC tournament and win, the national championship tournament and win. You can't have that type of loss and expect to win, because, as a fan of the product, you want to go in knowing that they have a chance to win. Getting blown out by 30 points doesn't give anybody confidence that they have a chance to get through the tournament to the end, to the Final Four. With that type of play, they're out maybe in the Elite Eight. So really, we got to do something about this. So, in my opinion, it's time to shake up the starting lineup. Now, one would say, well, they get starting lineup minutes. But my argument to that is when you coming off the bench as a player, there's a certain psychological mindset in which since you're not a starter, you don't have that burden to carry the team and you're just going out to play your role. But when you're a starter, you know that you set the tone. How the rest of the players play depend on how you come out and play a lot of times. And you have this certain mentality to produce because you are starting. You are the face of the product when we first hit the floor. So, you know, the expectation is higher for you to produce because you are a starter. And that's just basically how it is. So now you take Joyce Edwards and Malaysia Fuwali, who has been the best players on their teams since they started playing. We all know they played in high school. And did they play in middle school? I got to do my research to find that out. But I'm pretty sure if they played in middle school, usually, I'm sure they played in the middle school grades. They were probably the best players on their team. You don't get to be all Americans and have shoe contracts and have all these awards before even reaching college and not being the best player on your team. Okay, because that's what we have in Joyce Edwards. That's what we have in Malaysia Fuwali. If they go anywhere else in the country, I'm just trying to think. If they go anywhere else in the country to play for any other team, are they sitting on the bench? Let's ask ourselves that question. Are they sitting on the bench at LSU? Let me see. Is it Joyce Edwards sitting on the bench at LSU? Is it Malaysia Fuwali sitting on the bench at LSU? Joyce may be sitting on the bench at LSU, but Malaysia Fuwali definitely not. She's definitely in the starting lineup. Kim Mulkey is not sitting in Malaysia Fuwali on the bench. Definitely not. Is a Malaysia Fuwali or Joyce Edwards sitting on the bench at a UConn? Gino is definitely not sitting Malaysia Fuwali. Maybe Joyce behind Sarah Strong. Can't think of the other players that they play at the post, in the post. But he's definitely putting her in a situation where she is getting a lot of playing time, which is what his dad is doing, to be fair. We get that. But those are the top teams in the country, right? maybe the top 5 teams, top 10 teams. But any team below that, definitely Joyce is starting. For sure, Malaysia is starting, you know. So, be that as it may, that's just, hypothetical situations or whatever. But when it comes to this team in particular, I think they have done enough, shown enough to be starting in front of Joyce, should be starting in front of Chloe Kids. Chloe, I love the girl. She shows up in crucial minutes. But is she productive each and every play down the court? That's the question. Is she productive each and every play down the court? Is she as productive as Joyce? We see Chloe missing a lot of bunny layups, a lot of easy layups. She leaves at least 8 to 10 points on the floor all the time. And she's hesitant when it comes to being aggressive. We've seen her pass the ball when clearly you open, you make the shot. You can't question yourself in those situations when you trying to get to the national championship again. That should not be in your DNA. When you open, you're aggressive, you shoot the ball. We don't see that with Joyce. In fact, Joyce gets in the way of somebody else shooting most of the time because she's trying to get to the ball to shoot. Excuse me. Joyce has an aggressive Joyce has an aggressive mindset. I think that I think Joyce, not only is she the leading scorer on the team, you can't have the leading scorer on the team sitting on the bench. That's just not fair. Put everything else aside. Put everything else aside. As a player who's played the majority of her life in the starting lineup, you come to a top 5 collegiate program. You are a sophomore. As a freshman, you're on the bench, you paid your dues. Okay. But now you are a sophomore coming off the bench and you are leading in points. And according to Dawn, her work ethic is top tier. No one else is working like she works on her game. We've heard Dawn talk about that. So why are we leaving this woman on the bench? We need her to come out and hit people in the mouth. Establish their dominance off the rip. We can't have a Chloe Kids out there missing bunny layups. No one's going to take us seriously. They're going to say, okay, we go get Chloe Kids for like 15 minutes and she go leave 6 points on the board when if it was Joyce, she's making 98% of her shots when she go in. If she's not, she's getting fouled. So come on, what are we doing here, y'all? We got to have Joyce out there instead of Chloe. That's just it. Joyce can get a rebound. Joyce plays defense. You know, you match her up with a big, she's going to give that big some trouble. Okay? I don't see Chloe blocking a lot of shots. I don't see Chloe putting a lockdown on some of these bigs that they play against. I mean, she's playing standard defense, but she's not being offensively productive with her time on the court. And I only say that because she misses too many easy shots. And let's come on, we got to be honest with this. You know, I hate to even criticize her because she is a crucial part of the fabric of this team. And I respect that and I get that. But as far as her productivity, it does not match Joyce. That's the only reason I'm saying that Joyce should be starting in front of Chloe. That's just it. You got to make the hard decision. Don and gave you all this money to make the hard decisions, to make the right decisions, to put the right pieces in places for you to be successful in the SEC and in the national tournament. You can't be getting blown out by 30 points with your current with what we see on the court now. Okay, so let's go to Malaja Fuwali. If she start, who does she start in front of? Now, this is a hard one. This is a hard one to choose. First of all, Raven has paid her dues, and she has shown up to be a solid point guard. That's no ifs, ands, and buts. She has shown up to be a solid point guard. She's trustworthy. She plays defense. She'll get you a steal here and there. But Raven has to be more aggressive. She has to get you 10, 12 points a game. 10, 12 points a game. She has to get you a good 4 or 5 assists a game. She has to produce offense when she's on the floor. She can't continue to play how she's been playing this season and get through the tough games and get through the conference to win the SEC championship, to win a national championship. All these elite teams has leveled up. They're playing with efficiency. Texas, Tennessee, LSU, UConn, Notre Dame. All these teams their point guards are producing. They're aggressive. And they have been playing with efficiency. Raven is an elite game manager. She's going to do the bare minimum. She's going to control the pace of the game and everything. But when it comes to being in the elite teams, elite point guards, her name is not mentioned. Okay? She's not getting the productivity that's needed to advance far into the tournaments, into the SEC. And I do think Raven wants to win. I think she has that grit. But somewhere along the lines, she's kind of lost it. Like, come on, Raven, go to the hole. Like, if we had Maddie McDaniel's mentality in Raven's body, oh my God, we would have the perfect point guard, right? Um, and this is no disrespect to Raven, because she has a championship under her belt. She led that team last year because there was something in her that made her, that she was gritty. She was aggressive. Her shot was falling. I don't see that right now this year. When it came to the games that they've lost, or even in the games that they won in which it was close, did Ravens show up? Did coach have to sit Raven down and bring in Malaysia? I really think Malaysia Fuwali, for me, gets the nod over Raven to start at point guard. And as far as the foul trouble that Malaysia gets into early, put her in the starting lineup, put that pressure on her to stay on the floor, put that ownership of on her to be in the starting lineup, that pressure, she doesn't get those fouls. Because being a bench player, you kind of play more loose. So you're going to get those ticky-tack fouls. Starter, you play a little bit more focused. So you don't really pick up those fouls because you play a little bit more restricted when it comes to defense. You play hard, but you understand your importance of being on the floor because you are a starter. That's all I'm saying. Is Raven a starter? I think she is, right? But for this team, when it comes to producing, she has not been producing to the level that's needed to carry this team on into the SEC tournament. They got 4 games left. Do they win with Raven at point guard? Yeah, I think they do. Because, I mean, let's face it. If you're not a top 5 team, you're going to get beat by South Carolina. They can wake up in their sleep. They can beat you in their sleep. That's how good they are. But we're talking about carrying them throughout the tournament to face these top 5 teams, to get to the Final Four, to get to the finals in the SEC. You know, with the way they playing, they might get knocked out by, I'm talking about the SEC, they might get knocked out by Texas. Texas show up and play like they've been playing, they might get knocked out by Texas. And Tennessee is getting better and better each game. They might get knocked out by Tennessee. So what are we talking about here, y'all? What are we talking about? What are we talking about here, y'all? Let's really be honest with ourselves. Do Raven take us deep into the tournaments. We know they're going to be uh, uh because of their record, they might be a 1 seed in the national tournament. Maybe uh maybe a 3 seed at best. They're not going to be lower than a 3 seed, right? But is she going to carry that team all the way through to Elite Eight? Are we depending on Raven to carry the team to Elite Eight the way she's playing currently? I'm talking about currently, not what she's done last year. I'm talking about currently. Are we depending on Raven to carry us to the Elite Eight? I don't know. I don't know. I think with these last 4 games, Don should at least experiment with Malaysia at the point, Pow Pow at the 2. We keep Breezy right where she's at. Fagan and Joyce. Let's just see. For the next 4 games, let's just see how that works. I mean, I'm just talking in my world, right? But who knows what she'll do. But if I'm the president, I'm having a meeting with Don. You can't. At the end of the day, this is still a business. Okay, it's a college game. They bring in millions of money. You know, one ticket is $200. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put out a product that's going to win, right? So is the athletic director calling Don into her office to say, "Hey, what are we doing, Don? How far do you think we can go into the tournament with the product that we have out there now? Are we going to shake it up on these last 4 games and see how we can produce a little bit more effectively, how we can really be dominant? You know, what are we doing, Don?" You got people all over the country saying that Malaysia and Joyce should be in the starting lineup. Can we try it? Can we see how that looks in these next 4 games? You know, I mean, and I know how it would make a player feel if they lose their starting lineup. I played and and as a freshman in high school, I took someone's starting lineup, starting position. And I don't know how it affected her, but she never said anything to me. I remember that, like, I was a point guard. So I played, and this was at the high school level. So it wasn't at the college level. And, you know, they were not really a winning team when I came in. So I don't know. And this girl, she probably was like, "Oh, okay. She's starting in front of me. All right. Well, it is what it is." But she never said anything to me. The seniors on the team, they embraced me. So it's I would imagine it was tough, or it stung a little bit, but it was the right decision. If you're the best player and if you're productive, that should be your spot. So, and I go back to mentioning how Malaysia and Joyce started all their lives. So to go and sit on the bench and you the most productive player when you're out there, you got to be like, "Wow, what the fuck?" You know, it does something to your ego. You know, you can fake it, You can fake it for a minute, but it does something to you, you know, mentally. Like, I'm showing this lady that I can ball out. I'm productive. And I know when Joyce look at the box score and how she worked and coming off the bench, I know she be scratching her head like, come on, man, that spot is mine. Let me go out there and work. And if if Don wants Joyce to be considered for National Player of the Year, you got to give her that spot. Malaysia Fuwali is a star, a star. She should be on everybody's tongue when they're talking about the best players in the league. We can't have that, and she's coming off the bench. That's just point blank, period. No one's talking about Raven. We don't even know if Raven go make it to the WNBA, the W. Come on, man. What are we talking about? Will Raven get drafted? Probably, but she's not even a high draft pick. What are we doing? What are we doing, South Carolina? We got to do it. We got to shake it up. Shake it up, Don. I don't know if she will, but, you know, you can't give them starting playing time and they not starting. So put them girls in the starting lineup. Change the dynamic, change the psyche of these players, and go get your wins like you deserve, you know. And that's just it. That's all for me. It's your girl Game Time with Yo Yo. I'm out.